Well, hello and welcome and welcome and hello. It's your chunky stock monkey, your old buddy. It's Danny Deals. They call me cornbread because I'm moist, doughy, and I crumble under pressure. And I'm also a nice golden brown, delicious sort of beigeish color. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. This is going to be a relatively quick video. Hopefully about 10 minutes. Want to talk SMCI, Supermicro Computer Inc. Got hammered today, and I know it looks really bad because the stock's down like 9% and sitting around 33 bucks, but don't panic. Don't get caught up in the shock and awe. Don't think what market makers want you to think is like, look at the situation, go a little bit deeper than skin deep and look at what's actually going on. I beg you, look at the chart, look at the patterns. They're right in front of you. I mean, I'm just going to jump into this. Hey, awesome. Not a lurkers here. I once again forgot to text. My apologies. J Money holding this crickety leaking ship together. That is Un Poco Moss. By the way, guys, it's Un Poco Moss, the show where we give you just a little bit more, not every day anymore, but people are kind of like wondering, why aren't you talking about SoFi every day? You did a SoFi video. You're just the biggest SoFi pumper idiot in the world. And guys, I just want to remind everybody, I love SoFi. I still have all my shares, a huge amount of shares. It's the second largest position after Microsoft now, ahead of Tesla. I foolishly sold some Tesla at 431. I still have, I'm just kind of doing a rebalancing my portfolio because Tesla's gone so far up. I was like, it's way too much of my portfolio came down. Same thing sort of happened with SoFi, but the difference is I can't sell SoFi. But I never told anybody really to buy SoFi over 8. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't pump it a little at 10 maybe years ago, but I was really cautious at 8. And I was like, this thing keeps pulling back. They keep hammering it. I keep buying in the 4s, 5s, 6s. So I'm not just where I try to steer people and just make people aware of. I'm not giving advice. I'm just think of me as your big obnoxious uncle, just some fat drunk idiot at a bar. Look at me that way. Look at me with a scant eye. Look at me with a lot of skepticism. Just take it as food for thought. Take it as an idea. Obviously, do your own research. All that legalese bullshit that people think has any effect. Like, hey, a fat guy on YouTube said he's going to buy this stock. Well, you should buy it too, Billy. It's like, well, maybe not. But so I'm not trying to push people into SoFi at 17. I still think it's a really good stock at 17. I think it is a tech company. I think it's going to get that tech valuation. But, the issue is right now, the dollars are coming mainly from loans and financial services. They're not coming from those high margin tech features just yet. So I don't think the valuation is going to explode to those sort of Palantir, CrowdStrike, blah, blah, blah levels, however you want to put it. So I love SoFi. I'm just not trying to pump people into the stock at 17. I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm definitely not saying sell it. But, I look at SMCI, I look at a just complete disconnect between the value of the company, the trajectory of the company, and then the price action that is a false narrative that market makers have created that, this whole company's a fraud, that it's going to crash, like the Kramers, like once I see accounting, and I don't blame people. Nobody wants to see an auditor quit, financial statements not get filed. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I was trying to cure my, it was like, whenever you want to like cure your depression or you're worried about something, don't just, throw on a little Blue October. Is this song? It's like, hate me today, hate me tomorrow, hate me for all I didn't do to you, hate me in ways hard to swallow. I hadn't heard this in a while. It's like, just like, oh my God. It's like looking for a window to throw myself out of as the stock plummets. And I'm just listening to Hate Me by Blue October. But really good band, man. Just if you're, just borderline suicidal. I highly do not recommend that tune, or if your stocks are plummeting. But anyway, guys, I'm not the best singer in the world, but I love to belt out that tune out my window and just freak everybody out around my faux office complex. What's up, Birdie? How you doing? So let me yeah, dude, my singing's terrible, but I love to sing, guys. It's kind of one of those Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic moments? But I will do some Alanis Morissette. I'll do an hour of unplugged Alanis for you later. I'll do the entire Jagged Little Pill as a bonus, only in the members area, guys. The members area is where all the Danny Oki happens. It's quite fabulous. I'm actually when it comes to my singing, I'm actually terrible, but I do enjoy it. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. So let's talk SMCI. Let me just point out a couple of things that may seem spooky, and just look at them for yourself. Look at the chart. So end of October, the thing falls off a cliff on October 30th. Where does it stop falling? 33. Where does it bottom that day? It's not 31, but it's 32. Just bear with me. I'm trying to draw, I'm grasping at straws here. I'm trying to draw some conclusions that just don't exist. So you give me a little leeway here. Give me a little willing suspension of disbelief. I'm sober now for 3 whole months. That's one accomplishment that you helped me with. The one thing that tore us apart is the one thing I won't touch again. In my sick way, I want to thank you. I just can't get that song out of my head. It's just so wonderfully depressing. I'm just who wrote this thing? Where were you? What depths of depression? I don't know. I'm just fascinated by the songwriting process and many things, but I just got that song stuck in my head, and it's really messing me up today. What's going on, guys? Welcome and hello. Thanks for joining us, Alberto, our other able moderator, in addition to the great Not a Lurker, Jeff Presley. Thanks for joining us, Lorraine, White Feather. What's going on, White Feather? Danny Deal singing. Yeah, nobody will get less hits than usual, but who fucking cares, guys? We're you're I don't monetize this channel. I don't care who watches. I don't care if you whatever, dude. I don't make dime one off this thing. Like I said, it's just cheaper than therapy to do these stupid YouTube videos. But anyway, the reason that's why I'm not pumping SoFi, I'm pumping SMCI, is because I just believe this thing is just irrationally low. I mean, they already came out and said sales for this quarter that ended September 30th are going to be right around $6 billion. They were at 5.3. The quarter before that, just a couple quarters ago, they were at 3. Just a couple quarters before that, they were at 2 and 1. So the growth has been spectacular. Year on year, the quarterly growth's been 100, 180, 100 again. This time it slowed down, looks like to, 12%, 13%, which is nothing astonishing. But, this company's not NVIDIA. They're not going to grow, 50%. Every single quarter, but the year-on-year growth is really astonishing as well. I mean, they were just doing, $6 billion a year. I mean, the growth rate of this company belies, this price action. It just doesn't make any sense. It's all based on accounting. Sorry if I'm totally incoherent, guys, but I bought a lot of shares, $30.40 right at open. But look what happens here, guys. So it comes up, even this candle, the low is 31 and it closes at 33. Comes up, 3 more candles, drops all the way down, low 31, close 33. Goes through all these machinations, drops all the way down, low 31, close 33. So this is kind of the 4th or at least 3rd candle in just very few days that has used these exact same numbers. The volume is not nearly as high as you would expect for this just quote unquote crazy sell-off. And what kind of sell-off is it where, at open, there's just massive buying pressure? So just study this yourself, guys. Look at this little area between 31 and 33. I mean, it's really clear that when the stock drops to near 31, these market maker algos are just kicking on and accumulating like crazy. And then if you look at the daily chart, all the volume is in, the first hour where it's all buying. So the volume in this first hour where it's all buying is way more volume than the entire pre-market and post-market. I mean, just look at these candles. They're a lot of them are $1 million a piece. I think the opening candle was 12 million. And then a lot of these candles are nearing 1 million, shares traded. So by this time, the volume's just dead all day as it's doing this little sell-off, from 33.60 all the way down, back down to 33, and then it pops and stops again. There's a little volume at the very end of the day. But don't kid yourselves. Most of the volume during the day is in this hour where it's all buying, and then they just bleed it off, and it makes it look like, they're just selling the stock off all day. But it's obvious accumulation. It's so obvious. They used to do this exact same thing with SoFi every single day. They're still doing it with NEO. They just algo hold this stock at like a 3 to 4, 5 degree down bubble. And a lot of the candles are actually green, but they're able to just grind people up, grist for the mill, get returners to capitulate. And they're able to do that over and over again, just bouncing the stock off 31. But I think everybody was wise to it. I think anybody that's dumb enough to set a stop loss on a stock like this was setting it under 30. I mean, I think people expected it to drop even further. I mean, with everybody was like, oh, it's being delisted. It's not being delisted. The NASDAQ 100 is like an index of stocks, the 100 non-financial, 100 biggest market caps basically in the NASDAQ. You had to know when Palantir switched to the NASDAQ, they were going in. I mean, their market cap is many times that of SMCI. So, their market cap's fallen a lot. They got kicked out of that NASDAQ 100. They did not get delisted from the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, which is what they have until late February to file their financials to avoid. So they're two totally different things. I think a lot of retail investors actually read that they've been, replaced from the NASDAQ 100, and they thought they'd actually been delisted. So, that's how dumb a lot of returners actually are. But that confusion was out there. And you see the shark tooth pattern, a lot of very controlled up and down. Even though it's moving slightly downward, most of the candles are actually, or at least half, if not more than half, are green. I know that's not indicative that there's necessarily buying. But if you look at the volume at the beginning on these green candles, I mean, it's very, very heavy. And then as soon as it swings to red, you can see the volume just dies completely. So the heavy volume areas are dominated by green. Even today, even on down 10%, you think, hey, chunky stock monkey, how could they possibly accumulate on a down 10% day? Well, they dropped the stock down to 31 pre-market and just held it there. It's cheap. Their algo was even holding the stock on Robinhood overnight. This stuff's unprecedented. But what's also unprecedented is retail is buying these dips. It doesn't scare retail anymore. These young Gen Z people with Bitcoin money, they have no conscience. They have no fear. They don't care. We don't care about paper losses. We're going to buy these dips. It's all a fugazi. We know you're accumulating. We know what we own. This is ridiculous. I mean, who falls for this nonsense? Max Payne is 38, guys. Stock price 33.08. 9.5 plus 4 pennies. Add that shit up. Look at all these freaking options. Absurd amount of options. And look at the volume coming in. These puts are coming in low, but I mean, bulls are there to meet them. Now if you're expecting this free fall to 26 or back to all-time lows at 17, why isn't Max Payne down in the low 20s or at least the high 20s? Why aren't market makers betting on it to go lower if that's what's going to happen? That's the narrative they're putting out there to retail. Hey, get out, be terrified. They just sucked retail in, up in the upper 40s. I mean, look at something interesting that happens. Look at the 1 month. This is where it runs up to 48. Look how low the volume is here. Like not even 100 million. The day before that was more volume at 108 than 96, and this is 200 million. See what happens here, guys? This is the fugazi. As this thing, this is my interpretation of it anyway. This was a fall. This market makers controlled this. Then retail started to panic here. The bottom feeders like myself start to buy in here in the teens, 20s. Retail's basically running this up on huge volume. Right here is where the algo, the market makers, lock back into the stock on November 25th. You have these 3 days where they kind of regain their footing. Then they bash it off 31 again here. Gaps down, explodes upward back to 41. This was on the news. I forget what the news was. The lawyer found, no wrongdoing in their internal probe or whatever. Like that. It was a good investigation, but they're also paying for that investigation. So you have to then, the stock just kicks back up. And from this point forth, the algo is running things. There's absolutely no, it doesn't matter what the news is because they're creating and controlling the news, and they smack it down off 31 again, and the buyers again rush back in. So I don't see any retail, any market makers wanting to dump this stock below 31, below 33. I see retail buying the stock. I don't see retail selling the stock. I don't think people are using as many stop losses as some of these algos are counting on. And that's why I think retail's been beating the, bejesus out of some of these shorts and market makers on, stocks like Tesla and Palantir and even, SoFi and Robinhood and, many others, many fintech stocks that had heavy shorts. I mean, look at the short that was on Affirm, for God's sake. Look at Carvana. I mean, I almost shorted that stock at 20. It's like I wasn't stupid enough, thank goodness. But I thought it was a good short. I thought the fundamentals were terrible. But now it's like 250. I mean, retail's been crushing these market makers on a lot of these stocks. Market makers have been getting their asses handed to them. And I think this could be another one of those stocks. I mean, they're opening up a new factory within the next couple quarters in Malaysia. They need money for that. They're preparing for rapid expansion. That's what's happening. There's nothing wrong with this company other than, shifty accounting and double dealing and their auditors quitting and their books not being in. And yeah, so there are things wrong with this company. But as I said yesterday, they don't relate to the fundamentals of the business. It's not their engineering. It's not their products. They're going to have best-in-breed liquid-cooled products for this Blackwell NVIDIA generation, as well as other companies' products. These AI data center demand is only accelerating, and JP Morgan, before they absolutely savage their price target, said the orders are not slowing down and the customers are not leaving. That's what they saw when they visited the company. And that could be why nobody wants to sell the stock under 31, and that could be why I think this thing's going to go much, much higher. Here's another crazy harebrained theory from a middle-aged nothing. No, guys, look at what BDO has to actually accomplish. Okay, this is just my theory. I mean, everybody's like, can they get this done by February 25th? Can they get this done by February 25th? Yes. Not only that, I think they can get this done by now. I mean, I think a huge announcement can come at any time. Like, why do I think that? Okay, let's put our thinking caps on here. Let's go over this. I can get a pretty good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it, as they said in Tommy Boy. But anyway, so with Supermicro, they announced BDO's appointment November 18, right? So that's almost a complete month ago. Now you go, okay, that's nothing. A full audit takes a long time, but they're not doing a full audit. Ernst & Young already did the full audit. So that's Supermicro's work product. They're going to meet with Ernst & Young. They're going to say, what was the problem? It's going to be some kind of professional courtesy. And of course, Supermicro is probably going to have to pay for those hours and all that stuff, part of their contract. But there's probably some, provisions in that contract to say if, you quit, you have to provide some kind of transition, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea how it works. I'm merely talking out of my ample posterior. But so basically, they'd already done the audit, but they wouldn't sign off on it because they couldn't agree with what management was representing. What the audit committee was representing. They would not sign off on their financials. It's as simple as that. But was the disagreement over everything? Was the company a total fraud? I don't think so. I think it could have been very specific issues. So I think what BDO can do expeditiously is go in and say, these are the issues you have disagreed with Ernst & Young on right here, A, B, C. F you, management, F you. You have to eat it. You have to say, hey, uncle. You have to say no mas. You have to say we're waving the white flag. You have to say we're doing everything. We're erring on the side of caution. We're going to be absolute Boy Scouts. We're going to be the last Boy Scout. Shout out to Bruce Willis. Love Bruce Willis movies. I know he's having a lot of, medical memory, that whole thing. But man, a lot of great films. Anyway, I don't know why I just thought of Bruce Willis. But welcome to the party, pal. Anyway, guys, so they've already had this information for a month. And they probably only have to resolve a couple of issues. Now, if it's some kind of systemic issues where everything is messed up and they're misrecognized, then okay, then we're screwed, basically. But I don't think that's what this is, because the investigation they did already came out and said they're not going to have to do any major restatements of any financials. They wouldn't say that if they were going to have to do it. I think this is some kind of, conflict that could have been easily resolved if management was willing to compromise, was willing to admit they were wrong, was willing to sort of eat crow, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of say, hey, we're not the auditors. We're going to defer to you. Not going to be what I call, a dick measuring contest, whatever you want to call it. Just, you're not the auditors. And, frankly, this CEO and these guys who have this, technical knowledge and stuff, they're not accounting. They're not lawyers. They think they know everything sometimes. They get a God complex because everyone tells them yes, and they're in a bubble. But you have to defer to the people who know what they're doing. That's the whole point of a division of labor. That's the whole point of having an external auditor, is to keep you honest. Be honest. Spike Lee, do the right thing. Not just for yourself, not just for your family who owns this company, but for investors. Right the ship. They have this factory in Malaysia coming online. They have the capacity. They can just ride this wave of AI data centers to just massive, massive profits for us, for themselves. But they have to clear the decks. And they have to be honest. But I think a month is enough time to get this thing done. All they have to do is go in and say, hey, management, this is the deal. This is what we're saying. End of story. If you want us to sign this, that's the way it's going to be. Done. And management's going to say, we don't like it, but if BDO quits, we're fucked. Because BDO is not even that good. So that's where I'm at with this company. But we've had 4 candles going from low of 31, closing at about 33. The algo, when the algo sees 31, it bids it up to 34, pulls it back to 33, and just trades it down from 33.40 or whatever down to 33, back up to 33.50 all day long. It's accumulation. They're not selling there. They want people who bought in the 40s to capitulate in the low 30s. It's a huge loss within a week. They want you to take that 25, 30% loss. It's not a loss until I know people are like, well, you're completely wrong. It went down. I'm not saying stocks can't go down. I'm not a market maker. I don't control things. I'm saying there's a disconnect between the trajectory of the company's growth and the industry they're in and the opportunity in front of them and the way they've been able to execute in this space, and then the value, the market cap that's being placed on this company because of these accounting difficulties. And I know they've been ongoing. It's not like a one-time thing. This management's been caught with their hand in the cookie jar before. Got a bit of a sweet tooth, as it turns out. Also, guys, I've decided, based upon my horrible singing earlier, to go ahead and do the SoFi rock opera. I know they haven't done that beat I've been looking for, but I wrote the SoFi rock opera a long time ago, and it's kind of aging poorly. So I got to break that turd out before it's absolutely worthless, like SMCI calls. But anyway, so Max Payne 38. I think it's really a Fugazi type of sell-off. I think everything above 30 has been manipulation, has been market makers, has been borrowing. And if you take a look at Max Payne, or if you take a look at the short interest, they're still borrowing 151 million shares, short interest only 95, live short interest even today borrowing, Friday borrowing Only 3.4 million shares available. Now, cost to borrow is still very, very low, but I think that's quite intentional. I think certain market makers that are shorting the stock own a lot of shares. You can see that the short volume today was 44, so it's pretty moderate. That's about the lowest it's been recently. That's on the run up. So, I mean, it's really kind of fitting because all the nonsense was pre-market. So if you look at the daily, it actually went up from 31 to 35 and then sold off to 33. So it actually ran, if you actually get rid of the pre-market, it really ran up from 31 to 35. It's a tremendous amount of accumulation today on pretty heavy volume. It's a Fugazi narrative, guys. This is the shit they sell you. They were selling this crap about SoFi. Oh, dead stock. Remember just before SoFi doubled in like 2 months? Everyone was saying dead stock. I remember even SoFi bulls, you turders, Canadians, bastards. No, they were selling. They were all saying, chorus of people everywhere, dead stock. I love it. It's a great management, great revenue growth, but it's a dead stock. I was like, are you guys crazy? Are you stupid? That's not how this works. Things revert to the mean. Sales, profits, revenue, growth, these things don't cease to matter. This isn't some kind of parallel universe where it's like, oh, it's a great company, great execution, great growth, great management, great earnings, but the stock is it's just not going up. It's a dead you. Guys, you'll see a poll down in the corner if I have severe mental problems or extremely severe mental problems. There's also an all of the above option. You might want to check that. No, guys, it just drives me crazy when I see this happen to people, good people like yourselves. Like, they get you to buy this stock at 46, and then they just cut you off at the knees, drop it to 31. It opens at 31. You're like, oh, I'm panic sell. You sell at 31.40 to me, and then they'll drive the stock right back up to 50 or 60. I see this so much. And it's always retail who's getting turned upside down and getting their lunch money stolen. And I can't stand it because I know you guys work so hard and you're good people. And they keep screwing you because you're weak and you're stupid and you don't know any better. But, happens to me too. Even us good-looking, handsome, intelligent, fit guys. No, guys, I do stupider shit than you could possibly imagine. Yeah, no, actually, you can't imagine it. So, guys, I said 10 minutes. It's been 27 minutes. This has been an absolutely painful, turdish video. A turdish delight, if you will. That's my favorite candy is the turdish delight. I make that at home. What's up, Anus number? He's 80% into NCMI, but your Charles said the latest interview hopefully will be done. You'd be surprised, Anus. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm going to say Anus. But you'd be surprised, Anus. I don't know. I'm a complete juvenile idiot, so my apologies. I know I respect other cultures. Tevis Noto is here. What's up, Tevis Noto? I appreciate you not acknowledging me as your illegitimate son. I really appreciate it. It's cold Christmas. It's a cold Christmas here doing Poco Moss. But anyway, guys, so... yeah, you're right. He said, hopefully there's nothing to get done. They're either going to sign off or they're not. It's not an audit. Yeah, they have to go through everything, but they have to establish trust. And the auditor has to establish dominance. They cannot take any shit. It can't be this tail wagging the dog. They have to go in there just with a wrecking ball. Bring Miley Cyrus, bring Liam Helmsworth, and just bring Ben Affleck, bring his fucking forehead, bring J-Lo, bring whoever you got to bring. Bring Matt Damon. Ben Affleck's been carrying that guy for years. Let him get a writing credit on Good Will Hunting. God bless you, Ben Affleck. You're a great man. You're a great, great man with a giant forehead. Biggest forehead I've seen since great Giuliano Bologna. Anyway, guys, so I don't know what the fuck I was talking about here, but Bottom line, it looks to me like there's a good low in there possibly. I know I said this at 40, so I'm a horse's patoot if you didn't know that. You haven't been watching long, but looks like something brewing there at 31 in terms of a bottom. Looks like a little bottom brew. You've heard of a cold brew. That's a bottom brew. You don't want to. That's something that you only get at Ren fairs. You don't want to taste that. It's next to the mead. Oh, yes, it's a bottom brew. Oh, it's made in the back. Can't be made in mixed company, if you know what I mean. It's made with the twig and berries and a time. Dude, Ren fairs, those are weird, man. Those are weird. Those are some seriously weird fun folks, but gotta love a good Ren fair. Anyway, Big Wagner, SMCI this Friday. Are they going to finish the money or out of the money? God, Beach Boy, it's so weird because so much. Yeah, I'm going to do a Neo Kid Shaw. I'm going to do one. I've been working. Neo Day is going to be so exciting, guys. Just I know the price action has been like watching paint dry. Like, just some kind of a bladder infection, something along those lines. But Neo is fine. Firefly's good. Everything's good. That company they're saying 30,000 this month, 20,000 Envo units in March. I think everything's really good with Neo. I think it's one of those things where building out a swap network without a lot of usage is not extremely sexy. It's very capital intensive, but it's necessary. Pimping ain't easy, but it's necessary. Same with building out this battery swap network. Yeah, Sheen. Yeah, that's the same. I bought it, 3140. That's my long position. So I made some money on options. I lost some money on options. I finally got smart and just, I think, went long here. What's up, NB? The old Dingleberry brew. That's funny. Yeah. I want to set, my goal is just start a permanent Ren fair if I ever get FU money and just cook those giant turkey legs and just give them to poor kids. Just that's kind of shit poor kids never get a chance to do is go to a fair or go to the beach. I see kids from literally, I shit you not, I see kids from inner city Los Angeles, not once in a while, but often, who are taking a field trip and it's literally the first time they're seeing the ocean. And they're in high school and they live in Los Angeles. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? This is crazy. I don't know, man. Sometimes society just freaks me out. These disparities and it's opportunities. And dude, I'm such a Karen, but I don't have it so bad. Oh, fat, poorly aging, middle-class Karen. You're welcome. Anyway, guys, it's Un Poco Moss. It's already over the 30-minute mark. This turd has stretched on like a raisin in the sun. Oh, I'm just going to shrivel up like a raisin in the sun. Let's Poco. Not a lurker is absolutely right. I know what you're saying. I go, hey, friends, your old buddy Danny Deals. And some of my new viewers are saying, hey, wait a minute. I don't have an old buddy Danny Deals. You do now, friend. Welcome and hello, guys. 3, 2, 1. Let's Poco. Anyway, guys, we already Pocoed. Almost time to the Vikings. Yeah, guys, I'm the worst fantasy foot tarter in the world. I am just a complete douche when it comes to sports. I was really good playing sports, but a couple of my brothers are they know all the stats. They know every player in every sport, except kind of hockey, because we're West Coast, so we don't know as much about hockey. But my littlest, he's a fucking encyclopedia. He knows everything about everything. And I'm a total half-assing it. I'm just pressing optimize and I'm never add droppings. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I backdoored into the playoffs 6 out of 6. And I'm ahead. And dude, this guy has Sam Darnold and the Vikings defense. And he's got to hit me up for I think 35 points. So Statmaster tells me I have an 88% chance of advancing to round 2 of the playoffs. And dude, my avatar in my fantasy football league is still my league championship trophy that I won 12 years ago. And I'm never taking it down. I'm never taking it down. I'm going to bring another championship home. Well, probably not. My team's fucking terrible. Dude, thank God for Josh Jacobs, man. He's carried me all year, man. He's been a beast. Dude, my team, though, is not that good. And it's been smoking. My leading score is often my kicker. I think it's the Cowboys kicker. He got 15 points again. And then my defense got like 12 points. I forget who it was, but I just got a lot of random points. And then who's that receiver I have? Oh God, I can't remember. I think for the Eagles, he's been really good all year, but I don't know that much about it. I just do it for fun. It's like my brothers and my friends do it. So, but dude, I'm sliding into the playoffs. So I need the Vikings to shit the bed, or at least if you're gonna get touchdowns, Minnesota, my good friends in Minnesota, I'll give you a free tray of lutefisk if you get those running touchdowns, rushing TDs. Nothing wrong with some rushing TDs because Old Danny needs a fantasy win. I need that money. I need that fantasy money. Put in some SMCI shares. No, dude, guys, don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't put all your money into one thing. Like I got lost some money on SMCI, but I'm doing great with SoFi. I'm doing great with Tesla. I've been down with Neo, but again, other things have been up. So, I'm a Chase shareholder. I'm a B of A shareholder. I don't have, nearly the positions I've had. I'm kind of getting ready to sell those positions because they've just run up like 50% each or something. So, diversify, guys. I know Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and they say, diversification's for pussies or whatever. But, when you're in these growth stocks, you can't put all your money into these like pre-profit growth. And I know Supermicro and SoFi, they're not pre-profit. And that's a fair point. I don't think like SoFi is dangerous at all. I think SoFi has some of the safest, securest management on the planet Earth. SMCI, on the other hand, these guys are shaky as motherfuckers. These guys are shaky as fuck. These guys live on the San Andreas fault of shakiness. It's fucking shady. Dude, these guys are under like 10 trees. That's how shady they are. They're under like a pop-up canopy, a tree in a fucking spelunking adventure. That's how fucking shady they are. They're like, you cannot see your fingers like 2 inches in front of your face. That level of shady. Fucking slim shady, fat shady, chunky shady, short shady, whatever. They're just fucking shady. Seriously. But the company makes money. People need these fucking server racks, and they make some of the best. And so they got to get some lawyers in there that can say no, speak truth to power, get the job done, get compliance, get everything in order, and everything's going to be just fine. This company is just grossly undervalued. Grossly undervalued. And that's where I see the opportunity, guys. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Okay. I got to get rolling, guys. I got some stuff I got to finish up in terms of actual work. But anybody have anything relatively intelligent to say? Also, if the funding is done with the pipe, wouldn't that cause dilution, not needing to be... a pipe has nothing. NASDAQ compliance is their financial statements. They didn't file their financial statements. A pipe... private investment public, it's basically an investor coming in. It's going to be dilution, but it just depends. Like they're also talking about offering debt, so which would not be dilutive, but many investors prefer some dilution to debt. Like it just depends. It all depends on the terms. Like dilution is not necessarily a bad thing if they're about to enter a hypergrowth phase. I mean, let's keep in mind they just did, I think it was 7 billion, then 14.5 billion, and then they're looking to do, next fiscal year 25 billion. So you're talking about another like 100% growth and then 80% growth. I mean, for a company this size, that's extraordinary opportunity. Think of on top of the 25, they would just go 50% that next year, 40%. You slow it down, but the demand is not slowing down; it's accelerating. I'm just trying to point out an opportunity. I know it's dangerous. I know it's stupid. I know it's foolish. But I'm just pointing it out. I say sometimes the market makers fool us and they crash stocks for their own devious purposes. Those scoundrels, those little scallywags. And then they buy up all the shares and they leave us crying to our mammies about, what would have been if we'd have just held on and not dumped everything down at 19 or 32 or whatever. Because this narrative of late has been just doom and gloom. Oh my God, it's over. It's like the NASDAQ 100 is the end of the world. Well, it's not at all. Their market cap went down. It's to be expected. These other companies, was it, these AI companies have like 4 times, 10 times, or 8 times the market cap. You're going to keep Palantir out? Give me a break. It's like the hottest stock in the world. Crazy multiples. Anyway, guys, I got to run. I sincerely appreciate it. New CFO announcement, next catalyst. But honestly, guys, they could sign off on the books anytime. They could sign off on these books anytime. There might have just been a few issues that had to be resolved, and management might be ready to cave in at this point and, take the most conservative approach possible as suggested by Ernst & Young, and I think perhaps rejected by management. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was ongoing issues. Maybe it's bigger issues. I don't know. We'll find out. But their internal investigation indicated that it was all blown out of proportion. Now, of course, they have self-interest in saying that, but they don't have self-interest in just outright lying. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it, Mr. Nemur. Tell me how to say that name, someone. Anostomer. Anostomer. Hello, guys. This is a bit of an anostomer. Hello, warning. Beep, 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 beep. It's an anostomer. Anostomer. Hey, Mom, it's an anostomer. No, I like that name. Good to see you. Thank you. Welcome and hello. Lawrence Olivier Lamontagne. Hello and welcome, guys. Delisting from the NASDAQ. Yeah, of course not. But eventually, Alti, yes, you're right. And that no, it won't be that drastic at all because it was a tiny part of the index. It was one of the lower stocks on the index. So they didn't have that many shares. And I don't think that index is that big. And of course it is, but I don't think it's one of the biggest ones. And okay, they're going to start dumping the shares already, and they're going to be taken off the index in a week. But I think it's already been baked in and then some. It's 10% drop. I mean, this is these events that they're basically rehashing. The auditor quitting was a huge one. That's a huge red flag, but that's all we know. Once the auditor quit, they can't file the financial statements. Those are audited financial statements. They've given unaudited numbers as of 5.9 to 6.1, so they already know the revenues. They're saying it's not going to be restated. This market cap does not make any sense, guys. It just doesn't make any sense. That's my opinion. It's Un Poco Mas, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Would like to say big thank you to all of you who watched, and of course the great Nautilurker for moderating the show, and also our other moderator, Alberto Berti Avalos. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you. Hope you guys all have a good night. Peace. I'm out of here. It's Un Poco Mas.